Welcome.
Welcome to the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 81. So in the last episode was the first non-Doctor Who review, or Doctor Who in general episode for a while. So I thought I'd take a break, talk about the Neighbours reboot, and later on in the week I think I'm talking about Loki Season 2 as well. But yeah, don't worry if you're only a fan of Doctor Who and that's why you've come to the channel. Doctor Who obviously will be coming back. I just thought I needed a bit of a breather with how much Doctor Who was talking about. So in this episode, I'll be reviewing the episodes 5, 6, 7 and 8 from the Neighbours reboot, as well as the behind the scenes videos from the second week of the Neighbours reboot. So without further ado, let's start with my review for the Neighbours reboot, episode 5, episode 8908. The episode starts off with a recap. Susan and Carl deal with the fallout of their blow-up about Susan's resentment. Carl tells JJ and Dex about Kara quitting a job for their safety. Mackenzie is horrified at Sadie stooping into Haz's love life to raise questions Toadie on selling his house. Everyone is helping Toadie, Nal and Hugo move into Therese's house. Leo is the landlord of the house where Byron, Haz and Mackenzie live. Toadie checks in with Hugo and Nal. Nal pranks Toadie. Therese and Toadie realise something is off with Carl and Susan. Susan helps Nal unpack. Mackenzie admits to Sadie that she's attracted to Haz. Haz organises a date. Toadie reminisces about his memories in his house with Sonia and Melanie. Carl is amazed at Toadie's invention. The Varga Murphys save the day. Susan blows up about her resentment towards Carl. Carl talks to Toadie about this, as does Susan with Therese. Susan accepts the blame for her and Carl's issues. Hugo is listening in on Therese and Toadie's conversation. Nal is hatching a plan to break up Therese and Toadie, and the episode finishes off with a coming up trailer. So my thoughts on this episode is that the storyline's growing. Obviously we're now on episode 5, so it's been a week since the wedding. So yeah, and it's a new start for Neighbours, as it is for Therese and Toadie. Next up is my review for the episode 6 of the Neighbours reboot, episode 8909. So the episode starts with a recap. Therese practices her council meeting pitch to Toadie. Toadie loves Therese's pitch. Things are still frosty between Carl and Susan. Harold asks Susan if he is still welcome. Susan says absolutely. Holly blames herself for the issues between Carl and Susan. Byron tells Haz Reese is his mystery girlfriend. Therese tells Toadie her pitch was rejected. Paul weaponises Reese's love of Byron to his advantage. Therese blows up at Toadie. Susan hugs Holly. Susan compares Holly's actions to Izzy's, and Izzy is Holly's mother. Holly tells Susan her boyfriend cheated on her. Susan motivates Holly to grovel to Reese. Holly apologises to Reese. Reese rejects Holly's apology. Reese finds her hair in another coffee. Toadie creates a game of mini-golf for Therese to play to calm down. Therese apologises to Toadie for blowing up at him. Therese and Toadie get competitive. Harold finds her hair in his coffee. Trevor is with Haz at work. Haz tells Sadie he's dating someone. Nell informs Paul of Therese's rejected pitch. Harold is still suffering from memory loss. Byron friend zones Reese. Toadie's plan worked and has cheered Therese up. Harold asks Toadie to add to the history book. Toadie comes up with an excuse for not adding to the history book. Sadie is babysitting Abigail. Sadie backsteps on her plot to bring Haz and Mackenzie together romantic. Lee Mackenzie hugs Sadie. Now questions Toadie on his actions towards the history book. Toadie tells now Melanie is on his mind a lot. Carl tells Susan about his concerns about Harold with his memory loss. Harold forgets Toadie has moved house, and the episode finishes off with a coming up trailer. My thoughts on this episode is, as I said in the previous episode, the storylines keep growing, and this episode focused on Toadie's and Therese's new marriage. Next up is my review for the 7th episode of the Neighbours reboot, episode 8910. So the episode starts off with a recap. Paul is cleaning the Lassiter sign. Therese comments on this. Paul tells Therese that Nell informed him about Therese's failed pitch. Byron informs Paul that most of the staff have food poisoning. Susan and Carl discuss Harold's memory issues. Carl and Susan talk to Harold about this. Paul enlists Holly to help set up an event. Paul asks Byron to distract Reese. Paul declines, so Leo does it instead. Harold details his memory issues to Carl and Susan. Paul introduces Leo to Reese. Paul and Byron sneak Holly into the venue to help set up. Reese tries to talk her way out of wine tasting with Leo. Leo compliments Reese. Harold tells Toadie and Therese about his memory issues. Carl, Susan, Therese and Toadie agree to accompany Harold when needed. Jane has arrived in the UK. Jane is dealing with jet lag. Nell and Hugo are playing mini golf. Nell is still trying to break up Toadie and Therese, and Hugo wants her to stop. Leo and Reese compromise by wine tasting in the water. Reese vanishes. Byron and Holly are finished setting up. Reese works out Paul's plan. Reese makes Paul become an impromptu waiter. Harold gives some advice to Carl and Susan. Jane talks to Mike about her nan, Mrs. Mangle. Holly tries to leave, but Reese catches her. Therese catches Hugo taking something from Toadie's bag. Mike goes to propose to Jane, but Jane yawns due to jet lag. Hugo tells Therese about Nell's plot to break her and Toadie, and the episode finishes off with a coming up trailer. My thoughts on that episode is I like the storyline of Nell and Hugo having polar opposite opinions on Therese and Taylor's relationship. Obviously Nell not really liking it, and Hugo being all for it, really, and that happens in real life. But so next up is my review for episode 8 of the Neighbours reboot, episode 8911. The episode starts off with a recap. Nell tells Therese she believes that Toadie should be married, that Toadie should still be with Melanie instead of her. Nell believes that Therese and Toadie's relationship isn't a long-term one. Mike plans a road trip for him and Jane. Jane goes back to her and Michael's room. Therese confides in Susan about her relationships with Nell and Hugo. Dex states the obvious to Remy and Cara. JJ tells Andrew he wants to be a cop or police officer. Remy talks to Carl about her options of permanent living. Andrew gives some advice to JJ about becoming a police officer. JJ digs into Andrew's allergies. Mike reworks his road trip with Jane. Jane comments on not getting married to anybody anytime soon. Toadie asks for Nell's opinion on furniture. Toadie takes Hugo to the hardware store. Therese tries to find some common ground with Nell. Nell agrees. Mike calls Sam. Sam questions Mike why he hasn't proposed. Mike explains Jane's jet lag. Mike doubts himself. Sam reassures Mike about Jane's love for him. Nell and Jane have a conversation about Nell not being on board with the move into Therese's house, and JJ asks Nell about the Rodwells before Carl and Harold interrupt. Harold apologises to JJ for showing him the history book. JJ doesn't mind. JJ finds some confetti from the finale in Remy's hair. Toadie comments on the friction between Carl and Susan. On Andrew motivates Wendy to apply for the building manager position at Lassiter's. JJ states the obvious. Andrew drops by Mike's and Jane's house with a leaflet for JJ. JJ blows up at Dex on multiple occasions. Carl and Susan celebrate address their issues, not celebrate their issues. That would be strange. Dex startles JJ, Dex questions JJ about his recent actions, JJ yells at Dex, and the episode finishes off with a coming up trailer. So my thoughts on this episode is I like that Carl and Susan have resolved their issues. So coming up next will be the behind the scenes videos released for the second week of the Neighbours reboot.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Bell and I play Lucy Robinson, and these are my Ramsay Street revelations. The show's just starting off again, so it's a brand new beginning, brand new era. I was totally surprised at the twist with Toadie and Therese getting married. Lucy came out to obviously support Paul. Stefan and he is a top guy. Love my big brother, and he's just great. He's a really grounded, beautiful person. I love coming back. I love the character. I've really grown up with the character over the years. I think I can just bring more layers to the character now just through my personal life experience. I'm hoping Lucy comes back more and gets more of her own storyline, and we peel back those layers and we get to see some more of who she really is. Those were my Ramsay Street revelations, and I will see you guys very soon.
Hello everyone, my name is Alan Fletcher. I play Dr. Carl Kennedy.
And I'm Jackie Woodburn and I play Susan Kennedy.
And these are our Ramsay Street revelations. When we heard that Neighbours was finishing, we never had in a million years any thought that Neighbours would be
No,
over.
that was it. That last day, we filmed that last scene. On this set, we were done. That was it. End of Neighbours. But here we are. To all the people who banded together to save the show, thank you. Job done.
There's no question in anyone's mind that because you made all that noise, because you watched the last episode, because you put out all those petitions, that's why Neighbours was saved.
Yep.
You saved Neighbours.
Yep, you made that happen. Carl and Susan, this time round, I think there are a few issues at play in the Kennedy house that require some sorting out. I don't want to say too much.
No, and of course we do have a young woman living in our house now in the form of Polly, who is very much like her mother and a bit of trouble.
She's a little Izzy at the moment. Now we've got to sort that out as well. The old blue box.
I believe that there is a very high likelihood of the blue box appearing perhaps even sooner than we expect.
And those were our Ramsay Street revelations.
How many children and stepchildren do I have on that? I mean, that's easy, isn't it? Oh, well, there was, God, I can't even remember his name. Brad. Brad, had Paige. So that's not really a stepchild, because now we're divorced, so I don't know. There was the 3 biological children, the twins, Imogen and Joshua. This is ridiculous. Piper. So there's the 3 kids. Paul's twins, whom I had an affair with, one of them. Oh, I mean, no, I don't know. Well, I can tell you I had 3 biological children. Oh, and now I've got Nell and Hugo. Oh, hold on, there's Ben Hall, who played lovely Ned. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Here I am in Surrey. Who would have thought? A long way from Erinsborough. With my one true love, Mike, better known as Guy Pearce. This is the first shoot that we're having for the new Neighbours. It's 2 years later since we saw Mike and Jane on the balcony, all loved up and happy together. Since that time, we've been living in Ramsay Street with Sam.
The show finished after 37 years.
And we said goodbye.
We said goodbye to everybody, to each other and to all of the fans. I mean, it was funny for me to say goodbye after coming back to say hello, to say goodbye. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing to buy a couple of flights. It was cheaper for Mike to jump on a plane straight away. So the plan is to go to Scotland on this motorcycle journey. A little bit of an issue back at home.
Yeah, there's a few bumps in the road.
That possibly Mike ends up doing the motorcycle trip on his own.
Ah, you're back. Welcome to Robinson's Roundup. One little take on the week. Yeah. Don't know what's going on with Mackenzie. Got the look of love in her eyes, hasn't she?
He's cute. He's funny. He's kind, he's interested in my life.
Hello, you're basically describing your perfect man.
Stay single, girl. That's what I say. Stay single. Take it from me. My old mates Jane and Mike still over in London. Hope all's going well with them. Having fun at least. Yeah, also a bit worried about my old friend Harold.
We've noticed that you've become a bit forgetful lately.
I can't make it stop.
You're worried there, yeah. Hope all's well. Oh, I tell you what though. Reese is still causing trouble and... damn it, they're early.
Guests often are. Who's going to offer them a drink?
I'll find out who's available.
You are. It's perfect.
She's got to go. Got to go. Ah, well, I guess that comes to the end of my roundup. See you soon.
Yes, so those were all of the behind the scenes videos released for the second week of the Neighbours reboot. And that's actually it. So it's going to be a slightly shorter episode than usual, only by a couple of minutes though. But yeah, in tomorrow's episode, be basically identical to this, with the third week of the Neighbours reboot, because I'm recording this on Monday, the 9th of October. I think you're seeing this on Saturday, the 14th, I think, if I've done my maths right. So yeah, well, yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, this week, and it's the closest that I've ever recorded, because previously I tried to do 2 weeks, but I wasn't able to record for a variety of reasons. So yeah, so tomorrow's episode, Neighbours reboot, week 3 reviews, and we'll have all the behind the scenes videos. But that is it for the Everything Podcast, Season 2, Episode 81. Goodbye.